Hello everyone, this is CGTN's Wu Lei. We are live streaming here in Shanghai's Dishuihu Lake. We are now joined by Ash Dykes, the British adventurer who has spent last 1 year in China and walking through the Yangtze River. And we are live streaming at 5 different platforms. You can watch our live streaming at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, CNN Weibo, and our CGTN account. And if you have any question on Ash, please leave us a comment, and Ash will answer your questions. So, Ash, firstly, could you please say hello to our audiences?
Yes, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We're the last 2 kilometers of Mission Yangtze in the attempt to become the first person in the world to walk the entire length of the Yangtze River, and this is day number 352.
Wow, that's quite a long time. Firstly, we want to know, why do you want to walk across the Yangtze River? Because this is the 3rd longest river in the world.
That's it. So for the past decade now, I've been taking on pretty big expeditions around the world, and to include 2 world first records in Mongolia and Madagascar. But China, I came here just as a teenager when I was 19 in 2010, and it always fascinated me to realize that although I spent only 2 weeks here, once I'd left, I realized that that isn't even touching the surface, you know? 19.
19?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew I definitely wanted to come back to China in the future, and the Yangtze took my fascination because there's a goal right there. You've got a start point, a finish point, and it cuts through all of the wonders, traditions and cultures from west to east of China, so it would show off the most diversity, and it's something that had never been done before. So that was a
So one of my concern is that you have been spent almost over 350 days. So how did you cook, and where did you sleep at all the way?
Yeah. So often I just took a stove. I had ration packs with me. You just boil the water, pour it into your ration packs, and you've got food. To sleep, I used my Kailas tent. So I would literally just set up the tent. Stormy weather, it didn't matter. It was a solid tent, so I was well protected. But often, the locals would often invite me inside, super friendly, super hospitable. They'd give me local chai. They'd feed me up and wish me well as I continued.
Wow, so some locals helped you.
Oh yeah, the locals were amazing throughout the journey, really. So much help from them.
Okay. So accompany with us also the Chris Wood, the Consul General here in Shanghai of Britain. So could you please say hello to our audience?
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today.
Okay, so we will come to you later, and then we'll continue our live stream with Ash Dykes, and who has been spending his last year in China's Yangtze River. He walked across the whole river, and now we are approaching to the destination of this journey. So how many provinces and cities did you walk across?
Oh wow, I think provinces must have been about 9 or 10 different provinces, and cities, wow, I couldn't count. There were so many cities that I came across, especially towards the second half of the mission. The first 2,000 miles, so the first the first half of the mission, was very wild, very remote, quite isolated.
In the Tibetan Plateau?
Yeah, so you got the Tibetan Plateau there in South Qinghai province, and then you cross down through West Sichuan and into Yunnan. So all of that was quite remote. A lot of locals, but not many cities.
Was it dangerous?
We faced dangers. We were stalked by wolves for a couple of days. We were told by the locals that there are bears coming off the mountains looking for food before they go into hibernation. And we did see bear footprints and saw a bear off into the wild. So we were very aware of that because the locals know best. And so we would just go off their knowledge and what they would tell us.
Bears, wolves?
Wolves, there was landslides and floodings, of course. There was the temperatures dropping to minus 20 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
And out of the 16,
extreme
7...
weather conditions,
very diverse, very. We were thrown all sorts of weather our way,
Okay, so which part impressed you most about these difficulties?
You know, I would say the bit that impressed me the most about China in general was the sheer diversity. I always say China has every country in one. It really does. There were sections that I saw that didn't look like China, that you could get away with being a different country completely. And this wasn't just changing every month. This was almost every other week that it was changing, from high mountains that would look like the Rocky Mountains to then Yunnan, which looked more like the Brazilian. It was just so different. It was so different, and that's what really hooked me for sure.
Okay, so this is Ash Dykes, a British adventurer, and who is now walking across the final destination of his year-long epic journey from the beginning of the Yangtze River to the end in Shanghai. So every day you're walking like this with this bag?
No, so this is now nice and light. So
Oh.
my first bag that I had,
heavier one?
well, it was so big that Kailas had to custom make it. It was like a big 120
Wow.
kilogram, 120 litre rucksack.
Okay.
So that weighed about 30 to 35 kilograms. So I would be walking and the rucksack would be sticking up to here by now. So it really weighed me down, you know,
So where
I
did you
struggle.
keep? Where did you keep?
So as I made my way further east, I didn't need as much kit. So almost every month I was able to travel a little bit lighter because I was going from, you know, it was becoming less and less extreme as I made my way further east. So now, yeah, I'm down to just a few
here
kilograms.
Near the final destination.
Yeah,
so-
that's it, that's
Okay.
it.
So before you start your journey, how long did you prepare and how?
Yeah, it took me 2 years to plan.
2 years.
Yeah,
to
this
plan.
is this is by far the longest, and I think logistically one of the most difficult world firsts to plan out there, which involves staying on the ground and not venturing off into space, just because of the logistics, the visas, the
You have
permits
to
you need to
know
get in
every
place.
detail of this
Every
long
detail,
journey.
every detail, yeah. You have to make sure that everything you're doing is correct. You've got to make sure, because you're going from a hot environment to a cold environment as well. So you're not just planning for one expedition effectively. You've got to cover all aspects.
Yeah.
But of course, we wanted this to be one of the world's most interactive. So I do have my own Instagram, which is Ash_Dykes. I am on Weibo, on YouTube, on Facebook as Ash Dykes. So I was live streaming, I was posting photos and videos. There was a live tracker where people can see my exact location and can see us here now. So that was also difficult when it came to logistics, is making sure that I can post and have people follow the journey.
Okay, so this is Ash Dykes again from British Adventure, who is walking across the final destination of his year-long epic journey from the beginning of the Yangtze River. And so how many people are there in your group, your team? I know you must be not alone. You have a professional team, right, to help you?
Yeah, so there's many different teams that are on the field with me, but play a crucial and important part of it, you know. So there's various different teams, from production team being Mandarin Films, from my kit suppliers being Kailas, water to go, of course, to make sure I can get fresh access to drinking water.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a huge team that has really helped. But when it comes down to the walking, it is solely just myself,
Just
mainly
yourself.
doing all of the trekking.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So-
people join every now and then for
Yeah,
stints.
you are going to become the first person walk across the entire length of the Yangtze River.
Yeah, today.
Yes, today's a big
Yeah,
day.
Crazy.
So I read something about you because when you were 24, you had walked across the Mongolia.
Yeah,
and
that's
at
right.
26, you walked across Madagascar. And
Yeah.
now, 28,
That's
you
right.
have become another world record.
Yeah, but I tell you, it's not just about the records. For me, I look at the bigger picture. Whatever country I'm in, I'm always looking to help the country where I can. So in Mongolia, I was raising funds for charity and spreading awareness of the impact that climate change has on the nomadic way of life.
Okay.
And then Madagascar, I was spreading awareness for a conservation called the Lima Network Conservation, who help to protect and preserve all the unique biodiversity.
So in different areas, you focus on different subjects.
Yeah, I try to help whatever country I'm trekking through. I try to focus on more important aspects of just the challenges and me and my adventure. I try to highlight other angles, and that's why I'm working with the British Consulate General as well. And today we launched the Green is Great campaign. Work with the WWF.
WWF. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, as we can see, Ash is working with different platforms. We are live streaming here. Different platforms are working to show that his big day here in Shanghai.
Yeah, it's exciting. We got lots of people to
Yeah.
join, which is
So you're working with WWF?
WWF, the British Consulate General, the Eben Fishery Department, many different organisations, the Green Development Foundation. And it's just amazing work that they're doing, and I want to highlight that more. And same with the water to go bottle that I have. That has stopped me using 1,400 plastic water bottles. So along my journey, I've literally been carrying one bottle for the whole duration. So that's what it's
Water
about. Is
conservation,
What's that, sorry?
Water conservation.
Yeah, conservation, preservation of the Yangtze River and many other water sources across China.
Yeah.
And it's not just a effect in China, but it's a global threat, climate change, global warming.
Yeah.
But I believe with positivity, with the right things put in place, with the right teams and organisations, we can battle this and stop it or fight it before things continue to get worse.
Yeah. So people are wondering, why do you want to spend a whole year walking across Yangtze River? What kind of message do you want to pass on to the world?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I'd say because I've been doing it for the past 10 years now, there's never any one specific message. I would say it's probably those that I've just highlighted with the different conservations, with the environment, with the challenge, the record being the bonus, but also that inspiration and motivation that whatever vision or dream you hold, regardless as to what anyone else says, you've got to work hard to achieve it. You will face the ups and downs, but as long as you persevere and hold the vision, you'll make it. And today, hopefully I'll prove that when I cross the finish line,
Yes. So during the process, did you have a moment to give up? Did you ever?
I wouldn't say to give up, but I did face moments of doubt, of worry. I'm just human, I do have my own fears, and there were many fears along the way. And I faced many struggles, yeah.
Yes.
I probably questioned a couple of times.
Because it's such a long time, and the challenges and difficulties and dangers.
And sometimes just the loneliness as well. And don't forget, it sounds weird, but I don't particularly love or enjoy the walking aspect of it. What I like is the meeting people, it's the challenges, it's the survival, it's the overcoming certain obstacles, it's the learning from the people. And so actually when I have
different groups of people, different cultures, different minorities.
That's it, and it's those people who have amazing stories that I also like to learn from and share.
Great. We are looking forward to, because we know you have a professional team who are making documentaries, who are making videos.
Yeah, we've got Mandarin Films working behind the scenes to create hopefully a China-based and an international-based TV documentary. And we've launched the web episodes on my Weibo, on my Douyu, and on my Weijing, so people are able to see.
You must have a large number of fans here in China.
It's growing, which is what I massively appreciate their support throughout. Their words of courage, their words of support as I've been trekking, and of course because of the support, people have been telling me what I can see and do in each region and province and city that I've been getting to. So that has been massively a highlight as well.
Okay. That's great. So, did you have any further plans after this Yangtze River? Did you have any plans to continue another trek?
Yeah, always planning, always a step ahead of myself, if you like, always working towards the future. I would say the next plan, I'm first of all shocked at how big it's got here in China, so I think I need to keep that momentum going. So I do believe my next challenge will most likely also be here in China.
Well,
although I've walked 4,000 miles, I still think there's an awful lot to see left to do as well in China.
But probably in China.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is just the beginning to something big here in China, yeah.
I think after this journey, you must have a different understanding about Chinese cultures.
Yeah.
Right? Before you came here, you think something like this, but after this, so what's the difference?
That's it. Well, it's been so long that I forgot what I previously thought. It's been over a year, so. But I do remember landing and being completely unfamiliar with the country, unfamiliar with the language.
Especially in the western area like Tibet.
Exactly. But I always say it takes about 2-3 weeks for you to break into your wild side, where you're starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the uncomfortable, and when you start to suss out what the people are like. And after the first couple of weeks, I realised that the people were genuine, they were helpful, and that's what helped it to be, a really enjoyable journey.
Yes. Okay. So we can see there are a lot of fans, even some of your fans.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Even some students here.
Yeah, it's great to be able to share with. I've been doing presentations along the way as well in schools, so get the message out there. It's a beautiful world we live in. Go travel, go see it, go do whatever you have your vision or dream in, but also protect it.
Okay. So we'll come to you later, and I'll talk to Chris first.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Ash. And here is Chris Wu, the new Consul General here in Shanghai. So can you please tell us more about this Green is Greek project?
Sure. Well, this is a very important project that we will be formally launching in a couple of weeks' time in September. But today is a great start to join with Ash to share his environmental messages.
Okay.
The UK and China have been collaborating in many areas of environmental work, particularly around climate change. But we face huge challenges across the world, and we need to work together to deal with those challenges.
So this kind of project is important for collaborating.
This is a really important project for us, absolutely. We face enormous challenges with climate change. After all, just around here we've seen a massive typhoon over the last few days, which has caused a lot of damage. I read that it was maybe the third strongest.
30 people have been dead because of the typhoon that came out.
And this is more intense weather, more extreme weather is one of the symbols of climate change. So that is one of the challenges. We need to reduce our use of carbon. But with our Green is Great campaign, over the next several months we're going to be working with some of our existing partners, but hopefully reaching out to other partners as well, new partners. And we have three main focuses building on the work we've done on climate change. And those focuses are on renewable energy. And the UK has the world's biggest installed capacity of offshore wind generators.
So China and UK are working together on this kind of renewable energy.
Absolutely, right? And China is also making real efforts to increase its renewable energy.
So when did you know about Ash Dykes track here in China?
Well, as you said, I've only been here as the British Consul General in Shanghai for just 1 month. But I learned about this before I came here, as I was preparing to come, and I learned about some of the other amazing expeditions that Ash has undertaken. So it's a really great opportunity to link with what he's doing. You've just heard him talk about some of the environmental messages. You heard him talk about using fewer plastic bottles, and one of the elements of our Green is Great campaign will be about reducing the use of plastic. Because we see so much plastic going into the oceans. This is a real it gets into the ecosystems, into the fish, and that is a real challenge for us.
So Ash wants to raise awareness of this kind of environmental protection by his track, right?
Yes. And we are very pleased to be able to join him today on his last kilometer.
Yeah, as we can see that there are dozens of people here. We are also working beside Ash Dykes, a British adventurer, for the last kilometer of his 1 year long track, from the beginning of the Yangtze River to the very end here in Shanghai. And so this is probably very near the end.
At the end here, right? So we need Ash with us to take the last part.
So as we can see, this is
the ocean.
The ocean, the sea, East China Sea.
So where is Ash now? We're here.
Today, dozens of students, fans, and also anyone who is interested in this environmental protection is working along with Ash Dykes, a British adventurer.
We're now at the ocean.
The final destination. So finally, Ash Dykes reached the destination.
I want to jump over. I want to jump.
No, illegal.
Oh, insane. Here we go, we made it.
How do you feel, Ash?
Great.
How did you feel?
Here we go. Here's the East China Sea, the
Yeah.
Pacific Ocean,
Final destination.
352 days. And it, as you can see with my emotions, it hasn't kicked in. And I don't think it will kick in for maybe a very long time. Or maybe because I visualized it for such a long time that I've played this moment over and over and over in my head that it feels normal, right? But,
Every day, so you walked about 20 kilometers.
we go further here?
Yeah, let's keep continuing.
Yeah, let's continue.
We're going to another point, which is going to celebrate his the whole track, finishing his whole track here in Shanghai.
Yeah. I was ready to run and jump and dive into the ocean. So this is the now official home stretch. I'm going to get there. There's going to be another location. Yeah, it is.
So as we just mentioned, actually Ash decided to finish his track on last Friday, because of the typhoon that came up. So
right.
this track delayed for 2 days.
Yeah,
So we are going to finish here on Monday afternoon.
that's it. What time are we crossing the finish line? 3 almost.
So every day, how long do you walk every day?
Every day on average, I think in between 40 and 50. But my biggest day,
50 kilometers?
kilometers, yeah. So my biggest day is 75 kilometers.
Biggest day?
My
75.
biggest day, yeah. And my shortest day was maybe 10 to 6. Today's my shortest day. Yeah, we can include today.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
so on average 40.
Must be very tired every day.
It can get tiring, but you sort of do start building up that resilience and get used to it, you know? I'd say it's the challenges that get more mentally and physically draining than the actual walk in itself. Knowing how to overcome the landslides or the floods or the diversions or the wildlife or where you're going to get your next meal from was the hardest. But the last sort of 500 miles in East China it's gradually been getting easier and easier, which is the good way to do it, I think. Much better to do it this way than the opposite way.
The first part must be very difficult.
Yeah, the first part was the most difficult was actually getting and finding the source. Yeah, we had many people bail, many people get altitude
The
sickness.
source in Himalaya?
The source, yeah, in the Himalayas, yeah, the south of Shanghai, Tibetan plateau there,
Tibetan
yeah.
plateau.
So beautiful up there.
But you started in August.
I started on the 26th of August, yeah.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are waiting for you.
Shall we do it? Shall we run? Shall we run? Shall we run into the finish line? Let's do
Yeah,
it.
we're running
Go.
to the final
go.
destination. Whoa, the final destination.
I'm running straight through it.
Okay. So British adventurer Ash Dykes finished his year-long trek from the beginning of the Yangtze River to the very end here in Shanghai.
阿石老师啊，从缙云山到上海长江送接处，我们圆满的。
So a lot of people have prepared some champagne for him to celebrate. Wow.
Ready? I'm gonna spray it.
Ash Dykes is celebrating. After a year-long trek, he finally made it here to the very end. 350 days from the beginning of the Yangtze River to the end here in Shanghai.
Say again.
Your thanks first for everything.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, thank you all ever so much for rocking up today. I really appreciate it. You being a part of creating history. I know we were hit hard by the storm, but we decided to hold it back for 2 days. And what a great job we did that, because we've got the best weather and we've got a lot more people here than who would have been here if we did decide to continue on Saturday. So here's not only to myself and Mission Yangtze, here's to you guys as well. Thank you very much. Xi ni.
Bendigedig.
Bendigedig.
Very exciting, very exciting. Ash is celebrating with his followers, some students. He started his journey in last August, and after 350 days, he arrived here at the very end of this Yangtze River in Shanghai. So he wants to raise awareness of this China's biodiversity as well as environmental protection here in China and also across the world.
1, 2, 3.
So his followers are taking photos with him. I think that's probably okay. Let's wrap up this our live streaming here in Shanghai, as Ash Dykes is celebrating with his followers and other fans. We're not disrupting them. And thank you very much for joining our live streaming. And this is CGTN's Wu Lei. Thank you very much.
I don't know how many people there, include the